I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tampon Teasy, stayed the night in Michigan. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris's speech. We're going to dive into some more baffles. Joe Biden wants to get back in the race. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't even know that he's not even in the race anymore. Not sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Drop where you're watching this from in the comment section. Shout out to everybody watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. We're going to jump in to Tampon Teasies and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris stayed the night in Michigan to speak with the United Auto Workers on Thursday after the rally at Detroit Metro Airport the previous day. Let's jump into that. We're going to catch a little bit of Tampon Teasy's speech.
Sisters and brothers in the UAW, how great is this going to be?
Oh, and guys, I just want to pardon the audio on this. The audio and visual on this, it's very echoey and kind of, I don't know. They maybe they couldn't find anybody to do it. I'm not sure.
Please join me in welcoming the next president.
He's weird to me. He's a weird guy. What do you guys think about Tampon Teasy? I love the memes, by the way. You guys are sharing some awesome memes with me. And awesome names for Kamala Harris. Guys, this is a very long speech, so make sure you get your popcorn ready. You got your soda pop ready. This is a long one. This is going to be a doozy. I'm being facetious, but it's going to be a little doozy. There's like 50 people in the crowd. 40 of them are press. Great turnout.
Okay, so let me just say first.
Everybody's already sitting.
Walz. You know, some people have been asking, what do you and Tim Walz have in common? I said, well, you know, a whole lot. You know, we grew up the same way. We grew up in a community of people, you know, I mean, he grew up in Nebraska.
I think one of the big things here is the speaker is too close to the microphone, which is creating that echo at this particular event, or it's too close to receiver, one of the two, which is creating this distortion of audio. But just listen to this.
Me, Oakland, California, seemingly worlds apart, but the same people raised us. Good people, hardworking people, people who had pride in their hard work. You know, people who had pride in knowing that we were a community of people who looked out for each other.
Right.
You know, raised by a community of folks who understood that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. And you know, this conversion has happened in our country in the last several years, where there's a suggestion that somehow strength is about making people feel small, making people feel alone. But isn't that the very opposite of what we know unions know to be strength?
It reminds me of essays that I used to do in college and in high school, where I had to meet a specific word count on my essays. And I would continuously repeat the same thing over and over in different word formats to stretch out the word count. How many of you guys, drop it in the comments, how many of you guys did that? I did.
It's about the collective. It's about understanding no one should ever be made to fight alone. That we are all in this together. You know my entire career for unions and labor, because I understand the concept and the noble concept behind collective bargaining. And here it is.
Oh, she's going to go into collective bargaining. Here we go. Hope you got the butter on the popcorn.
Here it is. Fairness. Yeah. Fairness. Right. It's about saying, hey, in a negotiation, don't we all believe the outcome should be fair? I mean, who could disagree with that? The outcome should be fair. It should be fair. Right? When you're talking about the individual and a big company, and you require not one individual to negotiate against a big company, how's that outcome? So collective bargaining is about saying, let the collective come together around a common experience. Yeah, that's right. Which
What?
at its core is about dignity and the dignity of labor. The outcome should be fair. It should be fair. Right? When you're talking about the individual and a big company, and you require not one individual to negotiate against a big company, how's that outcome? So collective bargaining is about saying, let the collective come together around a common experience. Yeah, that's right. Which at its core is about dignity and the dignity of labor. And then let the people come together to negotiate so you make the balance. And then the outcome will be fair. Right. And isn't that what we're talking about in this here election? Yeah.
What are you talking about? The collective, this is the collective bargaining has to be fair. Let's dive back here.
The bargaining is about saying, let the collective come together.
Collective bargaining is about let the collective come together.
Right. Around a common experience.
Around the common experience.
Which at its core is about dignity.
Which at its core is about dignity.
Of labor.
And the dignity of labor.
And then let the people come together to negotiate so you make the balance.
And let the people come together so you negotiate the balance. What?
And then the outcome will be fair.
And then the outcome will be fair.
And isn't that what we're talking about in this here election? Yeah. We're saying we just want fairness. We want dignity for all people. We want to recognize the right all people have to freedom and liberty to make choices, especially those that are about heart and home, and not have their government telling them what to do. Our campaign is about saying we trust the people. We see the people. We know the people. You know, one of the things I love about our country? We are a nation of people who believe in those ideals that were foundational to what made us so special as a nation. We believe in those ideals. And the sisters and brothers of labor have always fought for those ideals.
There she goes, the sisters and brothers. The sisters and brothers always fought for that.
Those ideals that were foundational. Our campaign is about saying we trust the people. We see the people. We know the people. You know, nation. We believe in those ideas. And the Sisters and Brothers of Labor have always fought for those ideas. Always fought for those ideas. And we know we are a work in progress. We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country and we believe. And that's what our campaign is about. We love our country. We believe in our country. We believe in each other. We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies. And there's that. And so I say to all the members of UAW, and Sean Fain is the first who I talked to about this, I am so deeply honored as a lifelong supporter of union labor for Tim and I to have the endorsement of UAW. You walk your walk. And what we know, like we have talked about, we got 89 days to get this done. You know, the one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Because we know what we stand for. And that's a big part of this campaign. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people. And we stand for the dignity of work. And we stand for freedom. We stand for justice. We stand for equality. And so we will fight for all of it. And the bottom line about UAW is that I also know, and I'll say to all the friends watching, look, even if you're not a member of a union, you better thank unions.
It's like every sentence. It's like, we got to stand for what we stand for, because if we don't stand what we stand for, the standing will be sitting, and then the standing will no longer be sitting, because that's what we stand for.
So I'm here to say thank you. Thank you to the Sisters and Brothers of UAW for all you are and all we will do over these next 89 days.
And that is it. That was a doozy. That speech was long. Man. Wow. And it was prompted. Wow. That's what she had to say to all the sisters and brothers. Come on, man. Come on, man. We're going to jump into Jesse Waters real quick. Here we go.
Kamala's afraid of Fox, afraid of J.D. Vance at the airport, and now she's afraid of sitting down for an interview. She's probably afraid of spiders. The media is treating Kamala like she's vulnerable and needs protection, because she does. She's on a tight leash. They made her read the same speech twice in a row. Watch this.
It really is good to be back in Wisconsin. It is so good to be back in Michigan. Listen, let me tell you, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I took on perpetrators of all kinds and had a summer job at McDonald's. I had a summer job at McDonald's. So hear me when I say, so hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I know Donald Trump's type. And are we ready to fight for it?
And then we got Joe Biden over here dropping some major gems like always. Let's drop into Joe. Let's see what Joey Joe has to say. Drop your comments down below. Let me know. Smash the like button.
It matters a lot. Local schools, feeding and educating children. It matters. Cultural centers, celebrating Latino history and Latino culture, which everybody ought to start learning more about. By the way, parenthetically, you know that 28 out of every high school student is Latino. We better start figuring it out. And the health of
Can we watch that again? That was only 30 seconds. Can we watch this again? Look at him pause.
it matters a lot. Local schools, feeding and educating children. It matters. Cultural centers, celebrating Latino history and Latino culture, which everybody ought to start learning more about. By the way, parenthetically, you know that 28 out of every high school student is Latino. We better start figuring it out. And the health of
Oh man, here's a clip of Tampon Teasy getting a little rowdy at the same UAW. 40 people watching. Here we go. 40 people in the audience.
This guy doesn't know the first thing about unity or service. He's too busy serving himself. This guy doesn't know the first thing about you.
Come on, man. He's talking about JD Vance. Bro, stolen valor. There was a lot of stuff going on with Tim Walz about the stolen valor situation. I don't want to get into that in this video. I promise I'm editing the stolen valor one, but come on, man. Let's jump into this.
More. Peter. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy has more. Peter.
Harris, the vice president spoke for a little bit more than 1 minute in that plainside gaggle that broke the no questions answered streak. But there is no reason to think that her team might need to prep her quite a bit more before she talks for more than 60 or 70 seconds. Case in point, she apparently, according to the New York Times, told a group of uncommitted voters in Michigan that she is open to the idea of an arms embargo, stop shipping some U.S. arms to Israel, which her team immediately had to walk back. Her national security advisor, Phil Gordon, came right out to say VP has been clear she will always ensure Israel is able to defend itself against Iran and Iran-backed terrorist groups. She does not support an arms embargo on Israel. She will continue to work to protect civilians.
Backtracking, baby. Backtracking. That's what they're doing. Gaslighting everybody.
In Gaza and uphold international humanitarian law. But that's just not going to fly with uncommitted voters who seem to be of the opinion that they had moved the VP on this issue.
This movement has always been about policy shift, about policy change, about saving Palestinian lives in the immediate.
We want her to stop sending bombs to kill people we love.
Vice President Harris, as she tries to establish herself as the top of the ticket, has been looking for places that she can distance herself from President Biden. Gaza policy is believed to be one of those places. But distance from President Biden is going to become a lot harder because next week she is going to be on the campaign trail with President Biden. Harris.
Peter, thank you very much. I want to bring in now the power panel. Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor, and Matt Gorman, Targeted Victory executive, vice president, and former Tim Scott campaign advisor. Richard, I'm going to come to you first. When Harris's aides say that the fractured media landscape and many in the...
I like this Harris lady. She was at the NABJ conference when they were questioning Trump, and then she sat down with Trump prior to the assassination attempt. I think it was Friday before the day before.
Legacy media, I would assume that's what they mean by media landscape, where trust in traditional news outlets has fallen, and that's why we haven't seen her in an interview. I mean, that would be like ABC, CBS, NBC. What does that even mean? And what, she's not going to sit for anybody then? Just TikTok?
No, listen.
I mean, that's what they said.
As a member of the media, I do think it's important that she does sit down for an interview. And I do believe that she will likely do so. With that being said, in all fairness, I think it's worth pointing out that it's not like Kamala Harris was the candidate of 4 months ago or 5 months ago or even 6 months ago or even 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's no one's fault but your party. They coordinated her.
Hold on a second. She was the candidate of last week, and there was a lot of things that had to happen between last week and this week and next week as we go towards the convention. And so I do think she'll sit down with the media, but I also think she has to talk to party officials. She has to get to all the battleground states. And in contrast, Donald Trump is going to Montana tonight, a state that's not even in contention.
And what he says is he wants to help people down ticket win because he can, because he's ahead in those states. I'm just quoting him from his news conference that he gave for over an hour ago.
But not by all the
but
recent
polls. I do
polls.
have a question about when you say when she became the the presumptive, now completely coronated by a vocal roll call, a digital roll call, now the Democratic nominee. When voters voted through the primary season, Matt, they thought they were getting Joe Biden. They got hurt. That's fine. That's how they want to handle it on their side. But then you can't complain when the media come calling and want to know what her policies are, because she's been the last person in the room, the last woman in the room, as Biden has said, on every important issue during their administration when it counts for America.
No, I mean, look, past this prologue, we saw this when she ran for president back in early 2019. She can handle the scripted environments where every variable around her is controlled. But when she gets into spontaneous scenarios, needs to think on her feet, that's when it doesn't get as, she gets back on her heels. It doesn't get as pretty for her. And so that is what this press conference that Trump did, was trying to draw her out. And look, for the next 80 some odd days, she's going to try and run the clock out. You know, the open secret here in Washington is that A, she's agreed to a very simple interview with a network, and that B, she's been talking to press off the record. And the idea is you feed them off the record content so they're less likely to want as many interviews from you. And so, look, she's going to try and run the clock with a compliant press corps that follows her around, and she might just do it. It's our job to keep holding her to account.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Off the record for reporters is also off the record by definition with the public, because we can't repeat what's been said in those off the record conversations. It's a way to build relationships with people. And I would argue in many cases to find out who your friends are in the media. And who your enemies are if your enemies are those people who would ask you the tougher questions. None of that really serves the American public. They just have a straight up and down. It's broken now. Can you fix it? A new one column titled this: Kamala Harris wants the media to help her run out the clock.
Facts. She's just running it out. Trump agreed to 3 debates. She agreed to 1. She does well in scripted environments, just like that gentleman said. But when she's unscripted, which I'll share with you in a little bit, kind of goes off the rails a little bit.
Others also weighing in on the media and what Kamala Harris's team may be thinking. Watch.
I would say this to the mainstream media: Kamala Harris is ignoring you because she thinks she already has you. She thinks the mainstream media is already in her thrall and her corner.
As she's been vice president, we've seen some kind of damaging moments when her speaking to the press. And so I think that is something that's always been on the mind of her office and the vice president herself.
The vice president has had plenty of viral press moments, as we know, and some of them not good.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy.
We need you to be Kamala of the country.
is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees? And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
First question was for her. It was quite clear the second was for him. She goes first. Who needs a friend, Richard? Kamala?
Look, I think you picked a couple of press blunders. Every politician has them. There's also some great press moments.
A couple. There's going to be some more coming up. You guys want to continue to watch? I'm gonna share a reel. Go ahead and drop your comments down below. And if you haven't shouted out where you're from, please let me know where you're from. Smash the like button.
I know one in particular, when she was in Ghana and she was asked a question about Ghana's policies towards the LGBT community. And she said right away that LGBTQ rights are human rights, and the rights that they have here in the United States should be the same rights they have in Ghana. And she said it in front of a Ghanaian president who was passing a law that was—
Why is he talking about Ghana?
Making it illegal to be gay. So I think there are moments out there where you see her stood up.
Why does it matter what other countries prefer? We're talking about the United States of America. We're not talking about Ghana.
Up, and she's been very strong in front of the press. And once again, I think you'll see more moments like that at the debate with ABC. And as this campaign continues, I think right now, like I said, I think she's trying to get her campaign together. She's trying to meet delegates. She's trying to meet the voters. She's trying to get to all the battleground states. But I do think she will do an interview.
Ghana is a beautiful country filled with just wonderful people. We need for her to take questions with a different country that ends in A.
Yeah, but
America.
the clip you showed there was from the clip you showed there was in Warsaw. So I'm just pointing out a clip on the foreign
not all
stage
of it.
where the last clip was from Warsaw. I'm telling you, when she was in Ghana, she answered.
Okay, but watch the entire thing. And if you'd given some other example besides the one country you did, and maybe one in our own nation, as we did in our montage,
sure. I mean, I could also
then I could understand the
interview
pushback.
she did
but
with
I
Matt
don't
Carter.
right now, and I'm going to move
she did
on.
an interview with Matt Carter.
The clamor for Kamala Harris to answer real questions is actually getting louder. In the media, the traditional media space that her team says that they don't trust. Wall Street Journal columnist Kimberly Strausel's piece titled "Choose Your Own Kamala" as an excerpt. Who exactly is the woman aspiring to be the world's most powerful person? That's the beauty of the Kamala Harris campaign. Who knows? The Democratic nominee has already become the political equivalent of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. The Journal's editorial board with Kamala Harris puts it this way: mystery commander-in-chief. Quote, "She is all but telling Americans that they'll have to elect her to find out what she really believes, as she ducks interviews and the media give her a free ride. This is bad enough on domestic issues, but on foreign policy, it could be perilous." Matt, I come to you. So the ducking, Richard has the point that he makes that it hasn't been that long since she's been the nominee, but we've known her for an entire presidency and vice presidency with the most important issues in our lives, like our sovereignty, our nation's sovereignty at the border.
I mean, the press follows her around to every event. It's not like she needs to, 2-week notice to do an interview. She could do an interview. And also, I'll say this too, that an interview, singular, is the bare minimum. Because what's going to happen is she's going to give an interview and do, 8 minutes. And then the media will be like, okay, great, we did it. Thank you. There needs to be consistent media interactions here, answering questions. Because as you talk about, she's changed her position on everything from buying back guns to decriminalizing illegal immigration to fracking. She's not had to address none of it. She has an anonymous aide talk to the press. She's reversed her positions, and the press leaves it at that. There needs to be many questions about how she came to change her positions on a host of issues that she took when she ran for president just 4 years ago.
Gentlemen, great debate. I appreciate your time. See you next time. Thank you both.
Good to see you, Harris.
Hey, everyone.
What do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. Now we're going to jump into this is why one of the main reasons they won't allow Kamala Harris to speak off script.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. Talking about the significance of the passage of time.
right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? The Caribbean nations, island nations. In the Western Hemisphere, that is where the Caribbean is. We are also in the Western Hemisphere. They are our neighbors. I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know? Space is exciting. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree that there are things and tools that are available to us to slow this thing down. We will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when you had, if you're just like, if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend. Yes. And then, you know, the little thing catches it. And then, you know, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more. Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022? So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. AI is kind of a fancy thing. It's, first of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
Oh, man. This is actually here. This is a quick pan of the crowd of one of the rallies. Let me share this with you. So this is a quick pan of, boom. So this is a quick pan of one of the rallies here.
Okay, we got like.
While you're watching this, let me know what you see here. And I want you to describe the crowd. I'd like for you to describe the crowd. Drop the comments. Let me know what you think about the crowd.
Okay, we got like, she doesn't start for another 5 hours. It's getting really full. I think it's going to be a full house. Okay,
Nice.
we got like, she doesn't start for another 5 hours.
What does this crowd remind you of? Drop the comments in below. What can you describe these people? Can you describe the audience? Make your own judgment here. Describe your own judgments and drop your comments. Describe this audience in a few words.
Really full. I think it's going to be a full house.
This is what I think of the crowd there. This is the best way to describe the crowd that I just saw.
I think you can move him, man. This is a full flight. I can't move him. I don't want to sit there. Do you want me to call the cops? Because I will. I'll call them right now. You can't move people because they don't want to sit next to them. He's violating our rights and our safety. I asked him for his vaccine card, and he doesn't have one because he's not vaccinated. You have to have a mask and be vaccinated. You're not exactly wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask because I have asthma. I have a health condition. I have children. I'm fully vaccinated to protect them. You're intentionally putting my health at risk right now. If you wish to be on this flight, I need you to take a seat. Okay, that is a seat you paid for, and it's the only one of I know the law. You're violating the law right now. You're completely breaking the law. You have to find me another seat. It's not the law to be vaccinated to come on this flight. You can't make me breathe his oxygen because he's not vaccinated. You're not listening to me. If you wish to be on this flight, I need you to take your seat. I'm not sitting there. You're putting my life in danger right now. I cannot be made to breathe his oxygen. That's not fair. That's the seat you paid for. Do you want me to see my children? Yes. Are you putting them at risk? I have one available. I don't want to sit there. He's not vaccinated. You're intentionally putting my life in danger. No, you're not putting your life in danger. I'm not going to.
Does that best describe the crowd, the audience at that rally? Let me know. Drop your comments down below. Kamala Harris hasn't talked to the media, hasn't had a press conference. On the other hand, Donald Trump had an amazing showing at Mar-a-Lago a couple days back. Over 75 minutes of answering questions. He answered about 35, 40 questions off the cuff, not scripted. When is Kamala Harris going to answer some questions from the press? Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Drop them down below. Other than that, guys, I will catch you on the next one.